swagging.
Okay.
Now we're ready to add ribbons. Lots and lots and lots of ribbons. When you think you've added enough ribbon, you just add. We're gonna start with our base ribbon and have a gold, that gold mesh. I use the same technique for my ribbon that I use for my deco, and that is the drop method.
Okay.
It stops it from rolling all over and you're trying to twist it out. But I start from the bottom, give myself 10.
Oh, you measure your ribbon too.
I do the first one,
Okay.
and it's just an eyeball. And then after that, it's put wherever I want. So I
Okay.
kind of go up and down and across. This is what I call my base ribbon. It's not my pokies or my sticky outies. It's just something to give it all that pop of color
Okay.
all over.
Yeah.
I tuck. Doesn't always have to be the symmetrical person that I am. So I managed to get all the way back, kind of crisscross these. I got 3 for here,
Okay.
but I'm not done yet because you can never have too much ribbon. So I'm giving myself a 10. I cut it. I'm going back for a second pass.
So do you use 2 passes for each ribbon or just your base ribbon? Or whatever you feel like?
Whatever I feel like at the time. I have no real ribbon formula other than if it looks like it needs more ribbon, it probably needs a lot more. A little something extra. Now I'm going to the outside posts, creating it from that side because you know you're going to open your door.
Yeah.
People see the side of your wreath just as much as they see the front. So to me, it's important that you finish it front, side.
So it's kind of like doing the inside of the wreath and then now doing the outside.
outer side.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I look at it going, okay, I think I've golded this one up as much as I can gold it up. And when in doubt, go back and make pretty ends on your ribbon as you do it. That way at the end, you're not trying to find your ribbons to make your pretty V's at the end. Just a little finishing touch. So far we have this.
Pretty.
Kind of looks like a Christmas tree
Yep.
if you go this way. And for those that are wanting to do the tree,
That's a good tip.
it's the same thing.
There you go.
And then all you have to do at the bottom is take the brown roll and you can put the little brown roll piece at the end to make the bottom of the tree if you choose to.
That's a good tip.
All right, my next step for me is to prep my other ribbons because it's all about the ribbon, right, Matthew? And so I got a few different kinds. I have the white that I'm going to use. I have this shiny glitter red and green one. The one I'm going to use the most is this polka dotted one. It'll probably be my major center ribbon, kind of the one that is the ta-da ribbon. And I also have a different gold one, a thin gold one. And then I have a thick solid red one that'll be inside of the wreath as well. So we're just going to start cutting.
So about 5 ribbons there then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Is that typical for you or just?
It is typical to vary it.
Okay.
What you want people to do is look at it and say, ooh, look at that. And then come back 3 days later and find something else to look at. If it's all the same thing over the whole thing, you get to the point where you're a little too matchy-matchy boring. I usually like to put some kind of little critter in it, some kind of animal, a bird, a little thing, although I didn't put it for this one.
Okay, show us that your
All right,
method
so
here.
Angela broke out her Pro Bow, the hand. She doesn't have the extra long extension for the dowel. She had one of these. Would work if you could fit it in there, or if you can go buy a dowel.
I don't have.
But we made it work with the short ones, and I kind of showed how I stack my ribbons on top of it. And all it does is it stops it from going all over. So I take the end pieces to all my ribbon. On my table, I already have 14 inches marked in marker.
That's smart.
So that I don't always have to do that. So I have 14 inches.
Oh, I see.
And I cut all the ribbons at one time.
About how many?
I always start off with 6 because 6 is a good number. And then as I need more, I cut more.
Okay.
And as I run out, I run out, and I don't worry about it. I just
Okay.
have a few with that one, and that's okay. In order to do my, I call them ribbon spiky, ribbon poos, ribbon sticky outies, real technical language, I know. I usually grab either 3 to 5 of my ribbons, no rhyme or reason to which ones I grab. But before I put them together, I make sure all my ends are pretty, because my grandmother taught me that you have to have triangles at the end of all your ribbons. So I just take my ends of all of them, gather them up, then you take your ends and you fold them in half, and you go from the fold to the outside. If you go from the fold to the outside, your ribbon doesn't squish in when you try to cut it. I know that sounds really weird to say it like that, but that kind of is what happens when you try to cut from the wire in. So if you cut from the fold to the wire in your wire trim ribbon, it always stays nice and neat versus a jagged edge when the wire kind of wiggles at your end. So we have them all nice and pretty. I've cut all the ends. My grandmother would be proud. And now I'm going to gather, for the first one, I'm going to gather 2 of the polka dots and 3 other colors. And I always stagger them, the largest at the bottom to the skinniest at the top. And then we're going to fold it in half. Okay, here's the halfway point. I make a hook with my finger to make it nice and tight. I have some pre-cut wires. They're about 9 inches long, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. However much I cut when I was talking. And then I'm going to twist it. So I put the wire down the center and I'm twisting. And so it looks like this when I'm done working. And I just have a variant of amounts, kinds, and colors. And again, I'm not all about the matchy-matchy on the wreaths. I think it lends itself to have different things so that you're not all symmetrical and it doesn't look like a clock. My next prep work to do before you start putting things on the wreath is the balls. These things come apart. They're great, but you get what you pay for. They're $1. You have to glue the caps on so that the Texas heat doesn't stop it from melting right off and coming off of your ribbon when you pre-wire. I don't glue on my wreaths anymore. I used to when I started.
So did I.
But now I glue and I wire.
Yeah.
If you get the little ornaments with the caps that have the little wire at the top, you gotta put a dab of glue so the little spriggy wire at the top.
Okay.
So I've taken all my ornaments while you weren't looking and I've put the glue on the cap. So they're all pre-glued.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna wire them. And I like to do 3 of the same colors. I know I say I'm not all about the matchy-matchy, but I am about that with the balls, unless I have 3 different colors. If I have 3 different colors, sometimes I'll do 1 of each color.
The 2 and then the 1 bothers you?
The 2 and the 1 bother me, and
Yeah.
that's just a personal thing.
Sure.
In life, I'll get over it someday in life. But I have 12 ornaments, so I'm probably going to use 9 out of the 12.
Okay.
So I'm going to only set up 3 because I also have the 3 big balls. So I go put the wire through all 3, get them to come down to the halfway point. I pinch it down so it comes tight. Now, then do the ever popular dab of hot glue.
I have not glued mine. That's
I
interesting.
hot glue them here. I started doing that after if you don't hot glue, when you go to put them on the wreath, the balls fall out.
Yep.
And they leave this little splotch of where you can see where you've wired them.
Yeah.
So if you glue in the middle and then you dangle them for a little bit to let the glue dry in that little spot,
Then they'll stay together.
then they'll stay together.
Good tip.
And you won't have to worry about anything. Let's see if I can get this to dang. We've put all our balls together and hot glued them so they're staying where they are. So now we're going to start gathering our materials and putting them on the wreath, but not securing them. Now we're just kind of looking at design and what we want it to put. When you grab your swag, you're going to notice you actually have a total of 7 holes to put stuff. You got the two at the top. I call them the ears. Be careful on your ears. Because then if you put stuff that stick out, it looks like musketeer ears. So you actually have your two main and two main. So you have four that you're really going to put hardcore decorations in. And then your center one if you choose it. So be careful where you choose to put your stuff. So first I'm going to just put it in there and see where I like it. So I'm just going to stick things where I want them and say, okay, that works there. That doesn't work there. So I'm just putting them aesthetically where I want.